Summers County Board of Education regular meeting, July 23rd, 2024, 6 p.m. Let the minutes reflect that 4 board members are present and Mr. McBride is dialed in on the phone. And Ms. Renee, would you like to lead us in the
Sure.
Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have item 3, approval of agenda or adjustments.
I should make a motion to pull, under employment, extracurricular extra duty for the assistant high school football coach, the first position. He's third on separately. The Harshaw? Yes.
Right here, which one was that? Where's it at?
Let's.
Here, okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mrs. Farley to, when we get to personnel under extracurricular extra duty, to pull assistant high school football coach, Summers County Comprehensive High, and handle that one separately. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Mr. McBride, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
So the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote at when we get to personnel. Under extracurricular extra duty, we will pull the assistant high school football coach, Summers County Comprehensive High, and handle that separately.
I'd like to make a motion that we pull Safe and Sound and RT Rogers out of the bills to be paid separately.
I have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, to pull Safe and Sound and RT Rogers out from the bills and handle those separately. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote. We will pull Safe and Sound and RT Rogers out and handle those separately. Any other adjustments?
The motion, we accept the agenda as read with the aforementioned changes.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the agenda as read with the aforementioned adjustments. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote. The agenda has been approved with aforementioned adjustments. No presentations?
No, sir.
Thank you.
No delegation.
No delegations? All right, approval of minutes. We have before us the superintendent's recommendation for the following minutes to be approved: June 11th, 2024, July 9th, 2024. The first, we'll handle these separately. So June 11th, 2024.
I'll make a motion that we approve minutes for June 11th, 2024. I'll second.
I wouldn't either.
Do we need to?
Yeah, we need a second. Yeah, thank you.
I lost track.
All right. So we have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mrs. Farley to approve the June 11th, 2024 minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Mr. McBride?
Abstain.
Okay.
Which one of these was on here?
The June 11th, I was not here for.
Let's see. Miss Jay called in for it. Yeah. No, he called for it.
Okay, all right, I'm an eye then.
Okay.
I'm thinking that's the one I'd missed.
All right. Any opposed? Abstaining? Aye. So let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote with 2 abstentions that the June 11th, 2024 minutes have been approved. July 9th, 2024 minutes. Maybe this is the one we were before. Yes, sir. Yeah, you were here at the fun.
Make a motion that we approve the July 9th minutes.
I'll second. Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by myself, that we approve the July 9th, 2024 minutes. Okay, all in favor, or is there any discussion? Let me back up a minute here. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining?
Aye.
Aye.
Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote with 2 abstentions that the July 9th, 2024 minutes have been approved. Feel like I'm proud and Kenny with all my papers here. Jay, I'm stealing some of your spot here.
That's all right, buddy.
All right, item 7, we're at the approval of bills. The first bill we have is for RT Rogers and Safe and Sound.
Make a motion, we pay RT Rogers and Safe and Sound.
Or wait a minute. Archie Rogers isn't on here.
I didn't think I saw him, but he said both of them, so.
That's what I heard him say, but
Yeah,
He
Is
must have saw Roger Hartley and thought RT Rogers.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So you want to amend your motion, Mrs. Farley?
I will. I make a motion that we pay Safe and Sound.
Okay.
A second.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, that we pay Safe and Sound. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 4-0 vote with Mr. Brogan recusing himself that the bill for Safe and Sound has been approved.
Make a
Okay.
motion that we pay the remaining bills.
Okay, we have a motion to pay the remaining bills.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we pay the remaining bills. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote, the remaining bills have been approved for payment. Purchases over 25,000.
You not have any tonight?
Excellent. All right, discussion or possible action to approve the MOU with Rhonda Stout. We have the agreement here in our packet. And she's worked with us in the past, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve the MOU for Rhonda Stout.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we approve the MOU for Rhonda Stout. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote, the MOU with Rhonda Stout has been approved. Item C is discussion or possible action regarding the CTE electrical course. So this was one I asked to be put on. As you know, right now are without a CTE instructor. One thing I did do because of another topic that I needed to discuss with him was talk to the electrical, I'll get it here in a minute, IBEW, Electrical Union in Charleston. I told him our situation about our instructor, and I asked him if he knew of any possibly retiring electricians that might be looking for a little bit of work on the side, but not wanting to work full time and maybe go into the educational field. He said he had a couple people that may be interested, and he said that if we could let him know about what the pay would be, and I think, Adam, I'm going to put you on the spot here for a minute. We talked a little bit at the last meeting, but would it be in about the 40,000 range, give
Yeah,
or take?
or, I was beginning teacher 45.
Okay. And he said if we could let him know, and then he had a few people he would, if the job were posted, he would pass that information on to them and see if they were interested in applying for that job.
Mr. Engel, if you're.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you're sweetening the pot, then, EI benefits.
Okay.
That's-
We'll share that with him too.
Yeah.
So, with that, I would just like to make a motion that we post that job again and see if we can get a qualified applicant. And once it's posted, I'll reach out to that individual and have him pass that word along.
Okay.
I'll
So-
second the motion.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we repost the electrical CTE job. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by 5-0 vote that we'll have that electrical CTE job instructor position posted again. Item D, discussion or possible action to approve MOU with the education consulting team. This is also in our handout. This is for a CSBO mentor. So I don't know if you or Cassandra would like to talk about the emails that came in. You all can probably represent those better than I can. You do have before you emails regarding the mentorship program.
Yeah, the state is starting to see that you have a turnover of superintendents and treasurers, and they're trying to work out a mentor program because of all the duties that need to be done each day, each month, each year. And so I can have Sandra go into more detail, but I didn't go to the training that Uriah has been part of at the state level, but it looks like the state is going to fund this mentorship program, which is a good, it's not an unfunded mandate, if you will, but do you want to go into more detail? I mean, you know more than I do about it.
This is a thing that's been talking about for multiple years, and it's finally just, came to play. The turnover in VSBOs over the states over the last 10 years has been astronomical. And in that kind of a position, you just don't want that much turnover because it makes it a hardship on the county. And then also the day-to-day operations of the CSBOs have changed so much in the last 5 years with all the changes in like all the GASBs we have to do now for the financial statements, all the purchasing changes, 8200 is getting ready to change again. There's just a lot of things that changed in the last 5 years. So even some CSBOs that have been there multiple years, they're going to allow them to have mentors as well, just because they never got that opportunity. It's just been a struggle for the whole state to keep up in that position. So the state's way to remedy that was to provide funding for a mentor for a mandatory 3 years, and then if needed, the state can grant it for longer. So FY 25, which is our current year, would be my second year. So I would at least have to do FY 25 and FY 26. So there should be funding for both of those years. The funding is 20,000, and the proposal you have in front of you is for the exact 20,000. He just took the total and divided up by monthly cost, so we can just pay a monthly fee instead of keeping track of hours and invoicing for all the hours and stuff. And then that way he's just available when I need him. In the email from Uriah, the last one you got, it outlines the requirements. There's quite a bit more requirements for the state. So we'll have more meetings and we'll go into more depth on like day-to-day activities, which honestly is where I've been struggling. So it'll be more support on that, as well as quarterly reports to the State Department. And then the State Department is also going to be in at least one of the monthly meetings. So the State Department will be pretty active to make sure that I'm getting the mentorship that I need. And that we're also providing our county all the duties that I should be. So, any questions? I hope I went over that good.
You did.
Okay.
The good news is it's not an unfunded mandate at
Right.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be fully funded by the grant. There wouldn't be any cost, which will actually help us since we did pay for a mentor the last year. So it'll be less money we're paying now.
The 1 hour Teams meeting, I just see that as being super valuable. The
And honestly, since we're so close, mine might actually be in person more often than Teams, just because I find that more useful. It's just required to be either or.
Where it's weekly though,
Yeah.
if you're having issues through the week, write it down and,
I am actually
I mean,
very,
take advantage of that
I'm
every
actually
way
very
you
happy
can.
about this because that will allow me to get more help on the day-to-day and monthly stuff, which is honestly the part I've struggled with the past year.
Well, and that's actually more than what the state mandates, because the state mandates 2 points of contact
and
an hour
that's for
each,
you.
so we're getting a little more
Yeah,
bang for our
I'm
buck
glad
with
you
this,
saw
so,
that.
yeah.
It is.
You're
So,
right.
It is nice to have a mandate that they are gonna provide us some funding for.
Yeah. And there might actually be additional funding to try to get Kayla and Amanda some help as well. But since
Actually,
they've been in this position for a while, it wouldn't be mandated. But if they make a grant available, I'm going to reach out and see if we can get it because they never really got that. And I think they could both benefit from it as well. Maybe not to the full extent of a mentor monthly or whatever, but I think they could use it as well. So that has been discussed as well. And if that becomes available, I would like them to take advantage of that if that's an opportunity as well.
I think they absolutely need to.
Yeah.
So,
Especially with all the changes, you know, that in itself is just really hard to keep
Over the
up
past
with.
5 years, there's been so many changes, and I don't think people realize how much has changed in the business office of
Mhm.
schools.
Well, I make a motion that, we approve the MOU with Education Consulting Team.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we approve the MOU with Education Consulting Team. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by 5-0 vote that the MOU with Educational Consulting Team has been approved. Next, item E, discussion regarding county fundraising policy.
Basically, what we would like to do this year is hit home hard with everybody. If you're gonna do any kind of fundraisers, these are the ins and outs with the state and local policy. Basically, our policy meets state, but we wanted to talk to Trey to see if there's other counties that have a little bit better policy that people, it's a little more user friendly, because I think everybody means well when they want to do a fundraiser. But they have to also understand that you can't go asking for a bunch of money without taking the protocols step by step. Because if you take on something in the guise of something for a school sponsored event and nobody's approved that, that becomes a big issue for all of us in this room. So we would like to make sure that this was discussed. Nothing really has to be done at this point in time, but for you guys to be aware that Cassandra and I, when the beginning of the school year starts and we go to each school, we would like to make sure everybody understands how to fundraise. We've done a pretty good job, but there's some things we need to work on, and there's some examples I could give you, but I don't want to call out any one particular fundraiser. But there's always a better way of fundraising without causing more strain on everybody. Nobody wants to tell people, no, you can't fundraise, but you've got to do it in an appropriate way, because everybody has good intentions. It becomes like I did in that work session, when you implement something, that becomes the part that people see, and then they think something was done wrong. And it's like, no, people had good intentions. It just looks bad, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
This is, I don't know if there's anybody here that can answer this question right now, but it's my understanding that each entity can have up to 20 fundraisers per year. Is that correct?
I don't know that for sure, but I know here locally in our own policy, you're only allowed up to 3, give me a second, bingos. And already we're maxing that out because footballs did one, and then you had 2 others. I don't think people understand a calendar year means January to December. A fiscal year for us is different. So it gets a little confusing on what does that mean, how many? So am I correct on that one with the bingo? some of that nature.
So I don't know the amount that we can charge, but it's not that we're limited to that many. We're allowed to have as many as we want.
But they're
But there's
taxed after a certain
that's
amount.
tax exempt,
Right.
yeah. I
So
don't know
my
the number
question
off the top
is-
of my head.
My question is, that's kind of leading up, the middle school, high school situation, that shouldn't be held to one set. I would think that that should
So
be,
technically, the whole county is an entity because we all operate.
Under the same number. But
money per county.
But I don't know,
That's what it used to be.
I'm gonna have to get some more guidance on that. We need to double check on that. And then the bingo, it's 3 per entity per year. So I know schools can operate under their own FEIN number, and then that would allow us more leeway. But you're right, the middle and high school is one building now, and it's all Summers County Comprehensive High School, and
That's
one entity now.
that's a burden to
that's
them.
why I want legal to help, like Trey deals with our policy. I thought, well, if other schools are doing it really well, or he can give us from his point of view, then we can roll it out to you before rolling out to everybody else. But I think this one, since we're all doing this, scratching our head a little bit and saying, that means we all don't really know. And I would like to have it concrete policy where we can say, this is what it is, and then no emotions are involved. We can say, this is a policy that we approved and move forward, if that makes sense. Because what you're discussing right now gets us all like, you know what I mean? I don't mean that bad. That's just how it works. Sometimes you
there's
just.
a
And
lot
then you
of-
gotta be careful of when you sell and where you sell it, so Dr. Knott's not on us.
You're talking with food, yes, as he's got his hot tamales.
And there's a lot of gray area as to what it actually is defined as a fundraiser that we need to clarify with legal as well. Because, I mean, by state definition, even a donation is a fundraiser. But like, we need a policy to outline, we just need to clean up our policy so that it's more straightforward, so that all of our coaches and other people know what they have to do for our.
Let's clean that thing up
Yeah.
while we're still under review, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't cost us anything.
Well, do you
Well,
guys have anything that we need to add?
that's why I'm doing it.
I have a question we could ask if, so, and Chad may know a whole lot more about this than me, but at one time there was the Bobcat boosters. Is that something we need to consider in our policy if something like that were to start back up?
You could,
Band does have a booster.
They have a
Correct.
booster, okay.
But they operate as their own entity, so they have their own,
FEI.
they have their
Okay.
own, account, so theirs flows all through them. They do have to give us access to their yearly financials,
Mhm.
which at the end of the year, we do ask for that and review it.
Okay.
But as far as their fundraisers, they're on their own and they do all that.
So like
Okay.
their fruit sales every year, that's their,
That's
that's
theirs.
under their,
So that would not
FEI,
need to be covered in
yeah,
our
and-
policy. at
no,
all,
but
though.
what's nice is though, is to clean all that up so everybody knows. And then when we talk to PTO people or
Mhm.
boosters, we can say, you're good.
Mhm.
It's just a nice way for everybody to clear the air and be equal to everybody, you
And,
know?
well, one thing I am thinking about is that end of year report, that might be something we want to look at including into that policy, just so everyone if there are multiple, for any reason, they would know, I need to provide
I
this
am
end of
interested
year.
in Trey's input on that.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
think that might need to be part of the policy, just so that if somebody wants to set up a booster, they know what's required of them as
Right.
well. But I do know we have to approve boosters,
Mm-hmm.
so they can't, like, somebody can't just set up a booster, we have to give them permission to set up a booster.
Yeah.
They can't just operate on their
Kind of that slippery slope with those GoFundMe's. I know that's not, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
People get excited to want to help, and I get that, but at some point you have to say, wait a minute,
Mhm.
someone has to be the heavy. And we're not trying to be difficult, but just this discussion that we're having right now tells you we need to clean it up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
Yep.
a fine line.
Yeah.
We don't need to infringe no more than absolutely necessary on a boosters organization. I was a softball coach down here. My first year, we had no equipment. And they bought me $6,000 worth of stuff and then they dissolved. So,
Oh,
but it was because of a lot of upper level interference.
gotcha.
Just so we gotta be careful there too.
I agree with you. That's why I asked Trey, not to belabor the point, like, are there other counties that you've seen, because he's been in the job long enough, or like he was a board president, that you've seen that works effectively and efficiently, because what you just said there, because you want to make sure people have some autonomy, but you also don't want to be like a big heavy all the time saying you're doing something wrong, be careful. It's more like, let's just work together. That's all I want.
Mhm. Yep. All right. So you'll report back to us after you
Yeah.
hear from Trey. Okay.
Or you run into him at
Another conference, yeah. All right. Item F, discussion or possible action to approve MOU with Savannah Kesey.
You want to talk over it? Any question?
This is a recurring,
Yeah, I think it's just,
is it new?
But she's in a cohort with two of our county, staff members.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a little bit farther ahead. So this will be limited because we've got somebody really close behind her in our own county who will be certified soon. And then we'll rearrange some duties so that we can use our people.
So she'll be providing the services until that person reaches that level.
And we're fortunate to have in-house because a lot of counties are struggling.
This is a big,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and we're gonna have hopefully two.
So this-
real soon.
good.
this is county funds,
Pardon?
county fund.
I think it can be.
Is it under
IDEA.
IDEA, right? Can we work that?
The majority of the students that she would be working with are identified students.
So we may need to make just one edit to this agreement. And that's underneath of the duties, the services. Right before not to exceed 20,000 per year, there's a discrepancy there in the per hour cost in what's typed out and what's in
Mhm.
parentheses. So,
That's what I was, yeah.
I thought she fixed it. Maybe I have.
so we just need to figure out, okay, which one will it be? Will it be the 30 or the
It
60?
says will be
60,
30 or
okay.
60, yeah.
It's six,
That was gonna be my point.
I fixed it one place.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna add not to exceed 20,000 per year in print, I guess.
She did, and I have a copy.
Okay,
Okay.
You just want to say it just like that, though?
Mhm.
Okay.
because I was gonna say if she wasn't gonna reprint it, it would have to be initialed by both parties before it would be legal and binding.
She did, she brought it to me today.
Okay, great.
Okay. So then I'm going to make a motion that we approve the MOU with Savannah Kesey at the rate of $60 per hour, not to exceed 20,000 per year.
Second.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the MOU with Savannah Kesey at the rate of $60 per hour, not to exceed 20,000 per year. Any discussion?
One question. Is there not a chance that we could have as many issues to burn that full $20,000? What would you do then?
Say it again.
Is there not a potential to go through that full $20,000? And then what if we did? Where would we have to renew another
I don't-
MOU or?
I don't think that we would. These are very specific behavior
Okay,
plans. And if we get to the 20,000, by that time, our in-county person is gonna be certified.
thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. The minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the MOU with Savannah Kesey has been approved. The next item we have is discussion or possible action to approve MOU with Ron Camp.
Mr. Cantley is a retired administrator. He's a very successful man. He came to talk with Kevin at the middle school, high school, and now that we're transitioning into a whole new setup, he said he could work with him and then the jumping branch principal. Well, now that we don't have a jumping branch principal, it'd be good to have that person have a mentor, because I don't know who's going to be that principal. But once tonight we accept the resignation of that principal, Miss Jones is putting together a committee so we can interview people as soon as the 5 days are up with the posting. So we would have this person work with these two people to mentor them with their daily duties.
So this would be the high school and jumping branch.
Yeah, He would split us like for a whole day, he would go half and half. He was trying to help us save money and then time with working with you guys.
And for his, so it's 12.5 days. How long is he here? What's his average day run time wise? Is he an 8 hour day? Is he?
He would be 8 to 10 hours, depending on what they need.
Okay.
I just know with him working with Dr. Green, getting to know him, Mr. Coon and I met with those two gentlemen and I said, would you guys like to all work together? Because one thing, Dr. Green mentioned is middle school is a little bit more of a challenge and then you have them under the same roof as a high school. Now this year will be better because they'll be separated out under one roof.
Mhm.
But, it's about procedures and working with people at having two schools underneath one roof. It's a little bit more difficult and, Dr. Green and Mr. Cantley seem to work really well together. I even told Dr. Green, I said, why don't you just get to know Mr. Cantley? If you two hit it off and you want to work with him, I think you need a guy to just work with because I had him as a principal for my two daughters at Woodrow Wilson and there's 1,200 students there and he ran a good ship and he did a great job with systems. And I think that's what Dr. Green could use a little assistance on is the system of a 6 through 12. That's a lot of grades you're talking there, 6 through 12. So, and it had no reflection on Dr. Green not doing well. It's just you need someone to be a mentor, kind of like we are with the CSBO or the one I had as a superintendent. So, and Jumping Branch is one that we need some help there as well with some support.
And these are requirements because of the CSI designation.
Yeah, that's the other piece is they are CSI.
And he's on, so I guess I may be asking a question that's already been answered, but it doesn't specifically state in here that he'll be working with the principals, but so it would be
Oh,
just principals.
It's just those two principals. Yeah,
Okay.
you can turn the air. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's signaling there. Sorry for everybody out there on YouTube, but turn the air down.
And,
Okay.
Or up, however you
I was
want.
trying to be incognito.
I got you. Nonverbal, I got you.
and these are CSI funds.
Yes.
Okay.
And real quick too, Miss Jones has also worked on this as well. I know she's not necessarily here, but she has been doing a great job working remotely. She's probably put in more than 12 hours a day. She's done a great job. So just want to give her kudos for all that she's been doing.
Make a motion, we approve the MOU with Ron Cantley.
I'll second. Have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by myself, that we approve the MOU with Ron Cantley. Any further discussion? Just one thing, LifeWorks, is this going to be any duplication of service? Will this be different?
No, Dr. Holler will be more working with the staff.
Okay,
The other one's working with the principal, so
okay,
not a duplication.
okay, all right.
But I get why you're asking that.
Yeah. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the MOU with Ron Cantley has been approved. Discussion regarding the Hinton area ES facility review. I just asked that this be put on here. We did get that review in our email. Chad, I'm kind of putting you on the spot. If there's any highlights you want to point out or anything, just kind of an update on how we are as far as remedy any of the things that were
Yeah,
discussed.
so there were several findings. You guys have seen those findings. Just a few to note. Finding, I have to say it like this, finding 08120301 with our ERU units, which is the fresh air intake. We have identified the problems there. Train and purchase order with train has been in place. So those 3 ERUs actually were dysfunctional. So that will take care of the fresh air intake issue that we have in conjunction with our PPAC units, which have filters. Those filters are being cleaned. For the fresh air intake, that will take care of itself with those 2 units. One issue was lighting the classrooms. We have bulbs that we have ordered, color ceiling tile that we have ordered. Some of these items are relatively simple, such as some properly stored, the improper storage of chemicals. Those are being moved. They're at their own location. Some dusty items in one of the classrooms are being picked up. Then a couple kind of oddities. There was a chain fence outside that I'm still trying to get a ruling from a fire marshal on, which is very simple. So we're moving. We've identified all the issues. Now, a couple of them, I mean, were our long ticket items, large ticket items, such as the replacement of the lights, replacement of the windows. That's going to be recurring until we can come up with a plan there.
Yeah.
As far as the vegetation, old growth, the outside of school, our maintenance team has identified those areas, power washed those areas. We are about 80% complete. Some of them you really can't see from just driving by without having a baseline. So you may already have a baseline in mind. There's one side in particular that we have not cleaned yet. Portions of the concrete wall, the ramp, we have not cleaned yet. So that's on the way. But we're moving. In addition to this, there's been some painting done on the outside, some stuff on the inside, which you're aware of. So the hidden area is getting quite a bit of attention.
What type of lighting is in the classroom now? Is it, are
E3 bulbs.
are they the
Fluorescent.
Fluorescent?
Yeah.
So you probably know more about this than me, but we've replaced a lot of fluorescent bulbs. You could use the existing fixture, but replace them with LED bulbs.
Okay.
You had to do, I'd have to go back. It's been a long time since we did it, but you changed out, I think, the ballast and a few things and you could replace them. So it might be something to look into.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do right now is just replace the ones that are below.
Right.
And then we could look into that.
Might be a cheaper alternative than replacing the
I
whole.
mean, there's some shields on those lights that are broken.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix it. The shields are obsolete.
Right.
So
It's not unsafe.
When we talked to Charlie about it, he said about 10 years ago, ESG came in. I think that's when Miss Heinerman was here. They
Yeah.
came in and did the energy efficient stuff, and they
Right.
did change a lot of stuff, and that was just 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, these LED lights have
Yeah.
come a long way. And so that's probably the next phase that we need to start looking at is how do we go from what you said to today without see what that cost is going to be and work
Right.
our way through that. But the windows and the lights are definitely something we need to attack next. Nobody's going to argue that fact with anybody.
Excuse me just a minute. We just lost Jay. I'm gonna call him back.
With the school being located on the river like that, you're always gonna have issues with the outside vegetation you're talking about. There's always gonna be something.
There was some discussion, some concern in this report. that there
I'm sorry,
was
the
actually
person you were trying to
intrusion of
reach out
water.
the voicemail box.
But after talking with Charlie, who has a great history of that building, he's looked that over. There's no intrusion of water that can be found.
Yeah.
There's a couple pieces on the roof of some missing shingles. That's already been corrected.
I'm sorry, the person you were trying to reach.
Hey, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I was under the impression that a few years ago, and I think it's less than 10, that there was lighting or funds for lighting that was provided for through the Area Foundation and another charitable group that replaced. So is this all the lights, or are there only specific light for certain classrooms, certain?
Oh, just give me 1 second.
While he's looking through that, the good news is the bathrooms will have the latest, the LED. That's the good news. But once you walk in the bathroom and go to a classroom, it's like a yellow tint versus natural light.
Yeah.
You can tell. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and tell you you're wrong because you can't see the difference.
I've visited every classroom, identified some missing bulbs, but all of the lighting is the same. That answers your question. I didn't see anything that was.
Is there different lighting in the hallway?
there's different shielding. Even in the activity room, it's the same. You describe it. I'm not sure how, I mean, that's an effective shield because
Yeah.
if there was ever a bullet broke, these are like all slotted.
Ms. Harvey,
Yeah.
what we'd like to
Small
see
square
happen
slots.
is make them all lights like the bathroom would be in a perfect situation. It'd be nice to get them all to change. I don't know about what you're talking about, but if we could find out if that did take place, I think the biggest thing is we gotta have Charlie tell us, I think kind of what you were alluding to, Mr. Angel, I don't wanna put words in your mouth, but once you change a baluster, that's kind of the big hit.
Yeah.
Is that's the key right there, to go to LED like you do. But
Yeah.
ESG, I believe, is that company. And remember, a few years ago, we did working on that to make a little money off of that loan that we have to pay off. You know what I'm talking
Right,
about?
yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry, the person you were trying to reach has a voicemail box that
So,
So we're moving. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call and I'll give you updates.
thank
I
you.
hope to have the majority of these done. Some of the easier ones, obviously, by August 19th, all by August 26th. Hopefully, everything will be corrected, minus the two heavy items. And I just ordered the ERUs today, train. I'm not sure how long, I'm not sure what the lead time is. So,
Okay.
So will we get a copy of the response?
you talking about from,
the follow-up inspection
Well,
after.
so it says timeline for corrections. Please respond to the above findings within 30 days, including a timeline for their correction.
Yeah, I have the response that I gave the team from Charleston. More happy to share that with you.
Yes.
Some of those may have changed a little bit because I didn't know about the ERUs and things like that. I'll share that with you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
and while we're on that topic, Preston from the State Department will be here Thursday because he wants to look over a couple items. Well, he wants to walk through the whole middle school edition, which is good because those guys can help us see stuff that we might not see, because if you've been around it enough, you might not see things. But we can take him over to Hinton area and walk him through it personally to say, are we meeting what you're asking us to do? Because, you know, again, good intentions, but it doesn't mean you implemented it the correct way. So we just want him to double check that as well.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? All right. Thank you, Chad. Item I, discussion or possible action to approve LifeWorks MOU. So we have before us the service contract with LifeWorks. There's Jay. Hold on. Mr. McBride?
Hey, yeah, I'm sorry, Greg.
That's okay.
Uh,
We are now at item I. Mr. McBride, possible discussion or possible action to approve the LifeWorks MOU service contract.
So you mentioned that earlier that Dr. Holler is going to be the person working.
Yeah. Dr. Holler's the one that's been well received by people. And, he would be the one providing the training. He's the one that was here all last school year. Yes.
Is this, in, reflective of the number of days and the daily rate that he had last year?
Yeah, it's
As
pretty
well.
similar.
So 18 days.
Yeah. The nice thing about it, he ends up working a little more because we correspond with him with phone calls, text, and emails too, or Teams. They don't really charge us for that kind of stuff because they work well with people who want to get in contact with them with any kind of follow-up. We've had some teachers even ask them, hey, when you're in my room, it's almost like they do it. Some people are just real eager to talk to him versus others. But he does have his contact information for people to reach out to that he doesn't charge us for.
Will they be involved in any of the teacher academy? It's going to be that first week of school.
I don't know about that. Now, when I talked to Christy today, she told me these are the detailed first couple days. She's gonna get me the rest of them. So when I get the rest of the week, I'll forward that to you all, because this is what I have in a hard copy. But to answer your question, I think that's gonna be more, Christy's gonna be leading that, Schaefer.
I'll make a motion that we approve the LifeWorks MOU utilizing Dr. Holler for that service.
I'll say.
Second.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we approve the LifeWorks MOU utilizing Dr. Holler. Any discussion?
How will this would be, bleh, how will this be funded?
Thank you.
CSI.
I thought we were gonna either use CSI or COVID monies for that because this school is under the CSI marcation, if you will, from the state.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by 5-0 vote that the LifeWorks MOU utilizing Dr. Holler has been approved. All right. First item, under personnel we will address will be, under employment, extracurricular, extra duty, assistant high school football coach, Summers County Comprehensive High School.
Motion we approve Kenneth Harshaw.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley to approve Kenneth Harshaw for the assistant high school football coach, Summers County Comprehensive High School. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by 4-0 vote that Kenneth Harshaw has been approved as assistant high school football coach. Okay, we have before us now the remainder of the superintendent's recommendations for personnel. We have resignation, retirements, items listed there, individuals. These have been, all of these personnel recommendations have been published according to the amount of time required by our policy. We have resignation, retirements. We have leave of absence. We have professional. We have employment service, employment substitute teachers, employment extracurricular, extra duty.
Mr. Payne, the ones where it says none for names, are they still currently posted?
Those are in the interview process.
Thank you.
And the service for either professional is in the interview process and, the service is in, will be tested.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll make a motion we accept the superintendent's recommendations for personnel.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Harvey to accept the superintendent's recommendation for personnel. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the superintendent's recommendation for personnel has been approved. All right, item 10, superintendent's report.
This will be pretty short and simple. Professional development, you can see on that first page in front of you is the Principals Academy at Tamarack. That'll be for all principals in our ESC area. So we got about 12 to 14 counties that are coming to this, and I think it's gonna have some good PD to it. And we have our principals signed up for that. I even have as long as I don't think we'll have a chance to hire the jumping branch one, but I'm going to go to those 2 days because I want to make sure to take notes and get whatever they need to help them out with it. The biggest one that I requested was Mr. James Agee. I really think people have to understand that kids that get in trouble or any of that kind of stuff need to be dealt with in a way that is handled appropriately when you do an investigation. You can also see that we're doing employee investigations because no matter what, if it's a great school year and you don't have many, wonderful. But when you do have that one, nothing's worse than if you have an allegation of an employee, then you need to do it properly as well. But you can also see we have the less expensive lawyer, Jason Long. You guys know him from Dinsmore. He's going to go over some things with responsibilities and social media professionalism. I think that is huge for our people. And then Miss Toman, she is the wife of the superintendent in Mercer County. But let's just separate those two right now. She does a wonderful job when it comes to mental health and suicide prevention. And she did this last year, and there was a glowing recommendation from everybody. If you can get her anytime, bring her back. And this came from the people who attended this. I've never heard her before, but people tell me she is wonderful and does a great job. And then you can see they break them up into elementary, middle, and high school with their different things that they need to work on. But the biggest one is at the end of the day where they can network. It's really a lonely place as a principal. And one thing I learned from a teacher to a principal is, as a teacher, I ate with a lot of people. But when you're a principal or a superintendent, you eat by yourself. It's just, I tell people it's kind of lonely, but you need to network with other people because you're going to go through the same kind of stuff, and nobody needs to go through stuff alone. And we kind of joked about earlier, misery loves company, but it's not a miserable job, but it is a stressful job, and people need to take their jobs very seriously. If you flip it over, I'm going to fast forward because I just copied on them one page. This is a draft copy. I want to talk to you guys about something. August 19th, the first day back, go ahead and cross out 8:30 and put 8 o'clock. Here's why I need to change this. It's going to be different this year because of construction at the middle school addition. Since that middle school addition will still be last minute type stuff getting done, we can't meet everybody in the auditorium. So I already talked to Mr. Boone today. I want to talk with him first because I want to treat him like a fifth school. I would like to start the day out at the bus garage at 8 o'clock with my central office team, and we go to each school for about an hour. Now, what does that mean for you all? If you guys, I know you like to attend, and I get that, but we can't just stay at the auditorium this year and do it that way. We got to do something different this year. So everybody will report to their school at 8 o'clock. And then I need from you guys input if you would like to at least visit one of those, or do you want to do the whole day? Because what I would like to do is start at 8 at the bus garage. Why? They don't have air conditioning, and let's be honest, people listen a little bit better when they're not so warm and hot and humid in August, let's be honest. And then we can go from there and then go to another school and meet at each school, because we also want to talk to them about some changes that are taking place due to COVID money being gone and that the levy. And then if we continue to do a levy, we need to update people on what's going on and answer any questions, and then make it more intimate by meeting at each school versus in an auditorium, if that makes any sense. So we'll see how that works, but I know you guys like to come on that kickoff, and I appreciate that, but I wanted to let you guys know this will probably be the easiest way to handle. You can't put 300 cars down there when they're still finishing up, and I think it's just easier to do it that way. And when we talked to Radford today, they appreciate that because they're trying to coordinate getting all that outside work done before the 22nd when there's parent-teacher conference day. Because I told them we really need to have that cleaned up for everybody to get in the building easily on that day. So if you're wondering why are we doing it that way, that's the why. If you guys could just let me know in the next few weeks, hey, Dave, I can be available at these times, and then we'll try to coordinate and work together to make that happen. Because if you take each one by an hour, that's 5 hours. And, you know, it's a long day, but I think it's well worth it to see our people and to have any conversation that they need for questions or clarification. Okay. And then the other one is the draft I mentioned earlier that Ms. Harvey asked about. This is a teacher academy. These are the first couple days. Ms. Schaefer told me today she'll get me more detail for the rest of them, but she's finishing it up. But she said she's excited and ready to go. And if you've ever been around her, this woman is Miss Positive and always says, hello, sunshine. So we got a great person leading the PD. So that's the background of what we're trying to do for PD. The other thing I have for my report, it's kind of interesting. Mr. Boone just gave me this information yesterday, so I don't know enough just yet, but we will have Mr. Boone come back at some point in time, give you a full report. Two things that are going on. One, I'll start with the positive news. The green bus that we'll be getting, the electric bus, you know how we get a 95% reimbursement? This green bus, I don't know how long it'll last. So write this down, that's very specific. We get 110% reimbursement. I know, Mr. Brogan, you're looking at me kind of weird, but that's only for mileage. So that doesn't include anything but the mileage. So the point I'm getting at is whatever mileage we put on that bus and we turn in, we will get 110 back instead of the 95. I don't know how long it'll last, but at this point in time, Mr. Boone said it's 110% mileage only. So I know that much. Now, when will we get the bus? That's the other question. I don't know. The other thing that he told me about was, you guys remember that real bad accident? Where's that, your cousin superintendent? Calhoun County, remember they had a bad bus accident with that bus driver being under the influence and a bad wreck? Since that bad wreck, that has caused more of a spotlight with not only state, but federal. We're finding out that our state, when we're talking about doing background checks and all the stuff we need to do, we meet state regulations, but the federal government's telling us we're not meeting the federal. What does that mean? We're not in trouble just yet. They're gonna give us 1 year to get that cleaned up. So I wanna have Mr. Boone come in and give you a full report on everything at this point in time. But October 24th is not only my birthday, but they're gonna send someone to our county that day to do a walkthrough and audit of our bus garage. And Mr. Boone is well aware of that. He just wanted me to know that, to let you guys know that he's gonna give you a report on what's going on, because anytime you have a bad accident like that, thank God nobody was killed. But you did have one student lose his leg and some others that were sent to the hospital. It was a serious incident. But when the federal government comes in and looks at some things and says this is out of bounds, you either clean it up or you get in more trouble. So right now, all 55 counties need to clean up, and nobody's done anything wrong. It's just needs to be cleaned up. And so that's where we're at this point in time. So those are the only two things I have to tell you, but I thought that was interesting news about the reimbursement. When I heard 110%, he said, wait a minute, just mileage, not everything. And that's just that bus. So that's where we're at with that.
So is it 95% on the other
For all the other,
maintenance and upkeep
but not,
for that bus?
yeah, but not for the salary of the bus driver. The salary is on the county. That has nothing, unless we use money for grants and stuff of that to pay for it. But you don't get reimbursed for the salary of a bus driver.
Right.
So what is
I,
110% of the mileage? What is that?
But you said.
I guess Brian, we can let Brian
Well,
explain
that's
that
what
one.
I'm
I won't
saying.
put you on the spot.
I know, don't put, I just thought you might want to hear some positive news. And I think Brian, what he's going to do is, he just wanted me to know, I'll get more information,
Yeah.
but that's the good news. He goes,
Okay.
I'll get into the details later.
That's fine.
And I think that's what we're looking at. But I thought, oh, that's a kind of a positive thing, we'll see. But I don't know, but if we don't get that bus for 2 more years, 110% doesn't get me too excited. I need a bus, But it also help our fleet too. Our
Right.
fleet will go up
Fleet
in
value.
value big time.
Just to be clear, can you give us the day and time of the meetings we discussed earlier, for the one Thursday?
Oh, Thursday at 1:00, that'll be with our principal and athletic director.
Okay,
2:00 will be the levy focus group. I
okay,
think I sent that to you guys wrong at 3:00. I apologize, but the team's invite that I sent to people are at 2:00. So
okay.
I'll send out an email to correct that.
Both of them here in the office.
Both here, yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was like, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
No. Today's Tuesday.
Yes, what?
Yeah. That's all I have, Mr.
All
President.
right, thank you.
So when you talk about somebody's coming here, is that somebody from the state or somebody from the federal
For
for that?
The audit of the bus
That-
garage.
that should-
1024.
From what I understand, it's someone from the feds. Because I think what happened with that bus accident, that puts everybody on notice real quick. It wouldn't be that big of a deal if it was just a couple counties, but I think what they're finding out, it's more than not, and so they want to clean up. Anytime you have an accident, that stuff gets people involved real quick. Look at the bright side is, we're looking at student safety and employee safety as well.
Thank you. Item 11, point of privilege. Mrs. Harvey?
So I would just like for us all to remember Jones family, Miss Renee Jones and her husband as they are in Morgantown. Some medical treatment, just as they continue to go through this journey. And that we can support them through thoughts, prayers, and whatever else that we can. The mention of the the mental health and, suicide prevention lady for the Principals Academy, I think is really good. Because I know the last couple of years we've had any more than one student or former student to commit suicide or to even think about committing suicide is too many. And we've definitely got a problem. It's in our county and it's state and nationwide. I think that whatever we can do to help support and make that a top issue for this county, I would be in support of that.
Agreed. And quick question, the fundraiser for the Jones family is what date?
So there is a spaghetti dinner for Renee and her family that her sister and friends and coworkers are putting on August the 3rd.
I was thinking it was the
It's from
3rd.
4 to 8 at First Baptist Church.
I have tickets.
Yep. Ms. Farley has tickets available. I have tickets available. It's $12 a ticket. And you can purchase a ticket or you can buy them at the door.
That's your drink, your meal, dessert.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Farley.
I would actually like to pass my point of privilege along to Mr. King. My point of privilege that I wanted to pass along to you.
I can't buy, I can take it.
Okay.
You want me to say something?
Well, I thought you might like to. Is this your last board meeting with us?
Are you yielding to the delegate from
I'm yielding. I
from
thought,
Home
I
Mountain?
thought there might be something you'd like to say with this being your last board meeting with us.
You said
You put 'em on the-
gave me a heads up, I misinterpreted.
I did give you a heads up. I said,
You said, I'm giving you my point of privilege.
Oh,
And I thought you were gonna say something, you actually got to make a speech.
oh, I get what both of you are doing there.
well,
You're like a Chip and Dale
No, I'm
right
saying,
now,
I
two
won't say
squirrels.
who's on first and
Yeah.
what's on second? Now go.
Okay.
Yeah, I've worked in, had the privilege of working in 3 West Virginia counties, now going to the university level. And, there are, no finer people than the people of southern West Virginia. All the people here in this county are among that, so. I'm not very far, but I've enjoyed my career here.
We've enjoyed you also. And good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brogan.
I'm gonna use my point of privilege to check on a couple of updates. Is there any news whatsoever for the nursing classroom?
Yeah, so, we met with Ms. Blair in the classroom. She was well pleased of the space, so we talked about what she needed. We're in the process of, we actually have to paint the one room. I've met with Charlie and Frank. We have a plan to run. Well, I mean, it's kind of a trickle, kind of a cascading thing. So we have plans to correct what's needed in the special ed classroom. You know what she needs as far as shelving. I actually did that today to see what we can do. Sent her a couple ideas. I mean,
Will they use the current cabinetry, just maybe paint it up a little bit?
Probably not.
Can you use anything next door?
We looked at it, it's kind of,
Yeah, it's not real big. Not really twice her need.
I'm a big fan of recycling. Sorry, I
Oh,
tried.
well,
I tried.
yeah, we're moving on.
And my other thing I wanted to check about was where we at with accepting credit cards.
Real. We should be live sometime within the next couple of weeks. The schools will be live at the beginning of school and the secretaries have a refresher course the second day of that first week. So at that point forward, we should be 100% online, but prior to that, we should be online for the county. Like maybe even within the next couple of days. We're just waiting for one more test.
Here too. I seen Kelly down here to pay my insurance the other day.
Here should be, I really expect it maybe this week or next week here, and then the schoolers will go live. So yes, we can hold off on yours and make
Charge
yours
him
your
a
best friend.
surcharge, 8%.
All right.
Small,
Thank you.
pay that small.
Thank you, Chad.
All right. Mr. McBride?
Ed, I just want to say that I am so blessed to work with you four members.
We're glad to work with you too, Jay.
I truly mean that. And, I've never been with a group of people like you are.
One big happy family.
Well, we all want the same thing. And that's what's best for the kids.
Absolutely.
Amen. Thank you, Jay.
Tell him we can't adjourn just yet.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
All right, I just have a few things here. Mr. Coon, wish you best as you go to Concord. If we can ever do anything to help you, please let us know. Watch out for our kids that come over there and help them along the way if they need it.
Send them back.
Yes, please send them
We
back.
got an insider to help us with recruitment.
I did attend the West Virginia School Board President Conference Friday and Saturday. Just a couple things. So each one of you all should have in your email from, let me see who it came. It may have came from me. You will have an email talking or for the form to fill out for your self-assessment. Pardon? It is from me? Okay, thank you. So you'll have an email from me to do your self-assessment. Those need to be completed by July 30th. I was thinking August the 15th, but there was clarification at the conference. They need to be completed by July 30th, and then they need to be made public by August 15th. So we have to have them published on our website. So if you guys could go out, look for that email. If you don't have the email, reach out to me and I will resend that to you. If you have any trouble accessing the form, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to Daniel. We lost Mr. McBride. Daniel should be able to help you if you're having trouble accessing your email or anything, or if the form's not loading for you. I will get an email once they're completed. I don't know who completed them. I don't know what the results are. So it is anonymous. But if you could complete those prior to the 30th of July, that would be greatly appreciated. And so, Mr. McBride, we were still just talking about the self-appraisals there. If you can complete those by July 30th, it'll be greatly appreciated. If you have any trouble, reach out to myself or Daniel.
I appreciate it, Greg.
Also, you should each have received an email from Diana Stender, Stender. This is a notice for you to go in and set up your training reporting access to that portal. So there's directions in that email how to set it up. We will now each be responsible for entering our own training in that portal. In previous years, Shirley Davidson was very gracious, and she would enter some of that training for folks who maybe were not as technologically savvy as others. But moving forward, that will not happen. So we each have to enter our own training. So try to log on to that. If you have trouble, that email indicates a path, I'm pretty sure. Let me go back. I can look real quick, but I think it indicates who to reach out to if you have trouble. So look for that email. You'll get a temporary password and set up your account. It is on the West Virginia School Board Association website. That's where the link is to the training portal. So when you go to that website, you'll see it. One other thing, they did talk about it, the president's conference was the superintendent report. One of the things that a lot of the counties are doing is adding in student achievement under the superintendent report. As we all know, that's one thing that the state looks at each board meeting is that we're talking about student achievement. And as Mr. McBride stated, that's what we're all here for, is what's, best for our students and to make sure they're reaching those benchmarks. So I don't know, Mr. Warble, if you would want to add something, student achievement, to your superintendent report. We could do superintendent report and student achievement, or, if we want a separate item. But they did tell us, as we probably all know, well, there's Mr. McBride again. So we have known for some time, since the board meetings have been live, that the state watches board meetings. Right now, we were told at this conference, they watch every board meeting across the state. So we want, obviously, to be making sure we include everything that's needed. And I know we do talk student achievement a lot in our meetings, quite frequently. So I just think if we have it on our agenda, that'll help us with that requirement of touching student achievement. So we could do it with your superintendent report, or we could have a separate agenda item.
You just leave it in the report.
So that's all I have. If there's nothing else, we'll skip to discussion of next agenda. And our next regular board meeting will be August 13th, 2024, 6 p.m. at Summers County School Central Office. Any agenda items that we need to talk about?
While you guys are thinking about that, just to interject real quick, we might need a special board meeting because we need to hire a principal at Jumpy Branch. So tomorrow it'll be posted for 5 days. Then it'll come down, and then Miss Jones will be leading the team to interview candidates. It would be nice to have a name to you all by next, whenever August, what would that be, around August 5th or 6th or 7th? So if we could maybe, and it doesn't have to necessarily be all of you, but we could do something like it early in the morning. And then I'm going to guess that the ladies that work behind you will say, can we throw a couple bills? It should be a very quick one, but it would be nice to get that new person on board so they can get with their staff and move forward,
Do we know when those interviews will be held? Do we have a date yet?
Well, if you take tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Wednesday,
24th.
Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So Tuesday would be the last day for people to get their stuff in.
Okay,
That
that'd be the
doesn't mean
30th.
It doesn't mean you could do it the next day, because depends where people are from, or
Right.
there are people, I can tell you a few people that I could think of just will be on vacation that are
Okay.
internal candidate. I'm not saying they'll apply, but some people might want to apply.
I was just looking in comparison to this August 1st.
It
That's
won't
what I was
have, but
looking at.
because I thought, I'm the same way, but
Yeah.
I think that's pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. We'll see.
I could call in from the fishing pier if it's necessary.
Hey, she's on vacation too.
Yeah, because we have 3 weeks between now and our
That's-
next meeting.
I didn't
so-
realize that till talking tonight with these guys. It's like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
July has another Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Anything for the agenda?
But we
As
got 3
always-
weeks.
Yeah, as always, if you do have anything for the next agenda, reach out to myself or Mr. Warble. Mr. McBride, are you ready for item 13?
Adjourn, 7:16.
Thank you, sir.
He didn't even pledge.
Appreciate you being with us,
Thank you.
Jay. Hope you get feeling better.
Yep.